So the sugar industry is, I think it's what led to the obesity of Americans, right? But in my opinion, right, I don't think that Americans are any more irresponsible or lazy than the French, right? So when people say that if we have universal health care, it'll just give people free reign to eat like shit, I don't really agree with that because like I don't see a reason why they would. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're able to now go to the hospital for little to no cost doesn't mean that you're gonna get 6,000 chicken fajitas the next day, right? So it is a I know that's a Family Guy reference. Maybe I didn't know, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily do that. All right, guys. All right, Bold, how's it going? You said you are over 18 and you disagree with two of the points. Go ahead and pick one, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. What you got?
Sure. The universal health care. I disagree with that, on two reasons. One, we can already see a model that doesn't work as efficient, like in UK,
Mhm.
And then number two, free universal health care is just going to give people the license to just eat like crap, not take care of their health, and be irresponsible with their health. So, the way that it is now is fine, but one thing that can be tweaked is the pricing. It's just the pricing of the insurance and the pricing of, like an aspirin costing like $50 or something like that. Now that needs to be, regulated. That's what I would say. But free, no. People are just too irresponsible, and the actual system doesn't work as efficient.
Okay. Let me ask you two questions, right? Because the first thing you said that we have a model, and we see how shitty it is, which is the one that's happening in the UK. In the UK, are the problems that they're having, is it based on the fact that they have universal health care or the fact that they privatize some of their system?
Well, I don't know the nitty gritty, but I just thought that they have universal health care and it's just not as efficient.
Gotcha. Yeah, they do have an issue that's not as efficient. But one of the big problems with the UK is that a lot of NHS got privatized, which caused a lot of redundancy in the system and inefficiencies because they were trying to cut costs instead of to make a profit instead of actually serving the people, right? But the second thing I would say to that is that while the UK doesn't have the greatest model, we do have other models of universal healthcare, right? Like China or Taiwan, for example, which will lead me to my next point. Do you think that Americans are like more irresponsible than, the Swiss or the Chinese or the Taiwanese?
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say that we're more irresponsible. Well, that's some of it, but some of it is our food industrial complex too. You
Okay,
know,
I could
yeah,
agree with you with the food industrial complex, right? Because one of the issues we have with our food is that it's loaded with sugar, and that's what feeds into our obesity rates. You'll be surprised how many things have sugar in it. Probably the only thing that doesn't have sugar is water. Everything has sugar in it, which is crazy. Even salt. Salt has glucose, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So the sugar industry is, I think it's what led to the obesity of Americans, right? But in my opinion, right, I don't think that Americans are any more irresponsible or lazy than the French, right? So when people say that if we have universal health care, it'll just give people free reign to eat like shit, I don't really agree with that because like I don't see a reason why they would. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're able to now go to the hospital for little to no cost doesn't mean that you're gonna get 6,000 chicken fajitas the next day, right? So it is a I know that's a Family Guy reference. Maybe I didn't know, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily do that, right? So what I think would happen is that I think we would see a lot of people taking preventative measures because, like, for example, I have a friend of mine who's going through a lot, right? He's going through a lot right now. And every time I've told him, like, listen, one of the best things that will help you right now is therapy because when I was going through what you were going through, therapy is what saved my life. He told me, he said, bro, I can't afford that. You know what I mean? And I said, all right, let me just send you these resources. Send him the resources. And he told me, like, bro, I can't afford that. You know what I mean? Even low cost resources he couldn't afford because his job just doesn't offer health insurance. You feel what I'm saying? So he would do it he just can't afford it. That's just one of the things, like therapy. We see a lot of people holding off on dentistry. You know what I'm saying? Like me, for example, I go to the dentist probably twice a year. Why? Can't afford it. Now, I mean, now my job now offers a great dental plan, so now I could afford it better. Now I'm gonna be going like 3 times a year or 4 times a year now, but every single year I probably go twice when I should be going at least 4 or 5, according to my sister, who's a dentist. You see what I'm saying? You should be going at least 4 times a year. I go probably once or twice because I just can't afford it. So I think if we actually had universal health care, we would have more preventative measures and more people doing what I would do if I could afford it than just not going and doing crap to their bodies. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Well, what I would say to that is, it sounds like we have an affordability issue, and
We do.
that's exactly what I feel that needs to be regulated, the affordability part of it. But let me tell you this: I've been a registered nurse. I'm no longer a nurse. I own my own business now. But I was a registered nurse for about 19 years. Okay. Now, some of the patients that I treated were diabetics, right? Let me tell you what these diabetics will do. Because they have insulin at their disposal, they will drink sodas, eat crap, not care. They would take their blood sugar and inject themselves with insulin, not caring about their health, not caring about their blood sugar spikes and what it's doing to their organs. Because they had access to that insulin, they saw it as a free form to just eat and drink whatever. And that's how I feel like people would be. It's like, okay, I don't care about my high blood pressure. Let me just go ahead and eat this Taco Bell. Let me eat this salty food. As long as I take my blood pressure medicine, I'll be okay. And that's not how medicine is supposed to be used. And that's how I feel that what people will gravitate to, just because I've seen people's behavior. They're,
Now,
they're, they're not educated either on things.
yeah, yeah, I got you. Now, here's the thing, like just like I told the last person, with everything, there's a human element, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that's cap, right? I'm pretty sure that's something that you saw. Hell, my mom's been a registered nurse for 20 years. The shit that she told me, bro. Yeah, yeah, you feel me? And I used to work at a hospital as well. Like some of the things that I've seen, yeah, you know. So he's not capping, y'all. There are people who are like that. There really are. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, where that, yeah, that happens. So I'm empathetic, right? I do get that concern. It's just the way what I think is that more people would actually be more preventative than would do the shit that you're saying, right? Now there are gonna be people who's gonna be doing what you're saying. Like I don't doubt that at all. And at the end of the day, if they're gonna go ahead and take advantage of the system to essentially unalive themselves, honestly, even though this sounds a little bit cruel to me, but if you're gonna go ahead and unalive yourself, bro, then that's on you. You see what I'm saying? Like if they would like see this system that's gonna be used for it to actually benefit you. You know what I mean? You're gonna get your insulin for free. You're gonna get a nutritionist who can help you out. You're gonna get a physician who can tell you what are the right things to eat, how to right the ways to exercise, what are good ways to control your diabetes. And instead of doing that, you're gonna do ahead and eat cookies and milk and not milk is probably good for you, but eat cookies and cakes and cheesecake and then inject yourself with insulin and basically unalive yourself. That's on you. I would rather you get therapy though, because I think people who are saying what you're saying, I'm not doubting it, but from the people that I've seen, like at least half of them needed mental health, and the other half they were like Steve Asante on 600 Pound Life. They were just bad people, didn't give a shit. Those people, if they're gonna go ahead and just unalive themselves, eating like crap and making their diabetes get worse, that's on you. But for the rest, I think we should go ahead and take a look at them, see what's going on with their mental health, because a lot of them, even though they're trying to slowly unalive themselves. You see what I'm saying? There are people who have self-deletion ideation and not even realize it. You see what I'm saying? But if we had a universal system, I think more people will go into like trying to control their mental health and everything like that. But for the people that you're saying that definitely do exist, if they're trying to unalive themselves slowly and don't want the help, what
Yeah.
can we do about it, bro? You see what I mean?
Got you. Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. Do you think the system will be able to handle it though? Let's say it became universally available to everybody tomorrow. Do you
Mhm.
think the system will be able to handle it? That's number one. And number two, do you think people will be incentivized to want to deal with or even go into that field knowing that it's probably going to pay less now, it's probably going to be less rewarding, it's going to be less appreciated, you're going to be worked to the bone
Mhm.
because of just the sheer number of people and unhealthiness that we have in this country,
Yeah.
you know.
I think in probably if we were to go to universal healthcare tomorrow, right? I think for like a year there'll be like kind of a shock to the system because a lot of people will start going into the hospital for like preventative measures. Like, okay, I can finally get this, cancer screen. I'm gonna go into the hospital now. I can finally go to the dentist. I'm gonna go. I can finally see my optometrist. I'm gonna go now. You see what I'm saying? So there's gonna be a bit of a shock, right? People rushing into the hospital because now they can finally do it. But I think over time, after that initial shock, you'll see it regulate out a little bit more. And I don't think we necessarily have to lower the pay. There are people who are actually like leaving the healthcare field now because of the stress and lack of pay. I think COVID did a lot of that. Now we're not going to get into vaccinations and stuff like that. This is not that type of live, all right. I don't want to argue about vaccines. Please, let's not argue about
But no,
vaccines.
I'm not
But
on it.
I want to
give me
argue about sex.
I got you. I got you. Give me 1 second. See, I got you. But yeah, so there are people leaving the healthcare industry now because of the stress. You see what I'm saying? And of course, there's going to be initial shock to the system because of everybody going into the hospital or into clinics because now they can get the treatment that they need. But after that initial shock, I think we'll see a bit of an equilibrium of, now that, we all got our health needs now, I know I don't need to see a doctor again for like another year and a half. So things will kind of balance out, even though there'll be an initial shock. And I don't think we need to necessarily lower the pay. Like I don't see a reason why we would. Probably the only reason why we would is that doctors won't get the kickbacks from the insurance companies anymore. You know what I mean? They won't
Exactly.
get the $100,000 bonuses from the insurance companies anymore. But if
Yeah.
you're in the field, now you're in the field to make. I understand we're all in the field to make money, right? Doctors make good money. Cardiologists get paid $400,000 a year starting. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Great pay. But let's say as a cardiologist, you go from 400,000 to 325. Did your life really change? You see what I'm saying? Even if we do cut pay, I don't think it'll be that much, or it'll be like life changing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
give me a
got
second off factory. I gotta let Bold go. All right, Bold, we're probably like at the end. Did you disagree with anything else, or that was it?
the war on drugs, but I'll let somebody else have it though. I'm not gonna take up all your time. I
I got
appreciate
you.
the time you've given me, brother.
Not a problem, Bold. I appreciate you being up here. Have a good one. All right.
You too, man. Thanks.
No problem. All right, you guys. I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate all your patience. C3.